Yo, what's up, YouTube? This your boy Expat D. I am here in Thailand. And so what I want to talk to you guys about is a little bit about a solution or a possible solution to money. And what I mean by that is money transferring. So here's the problem. I've been traveling here to Thailand for about 6 years. The past 4 years in a row, I used to come here in the summers. And one issue that I've noticed is that when you try to use the ATM machines, it's very expensive. Okay, it's like, I think 250 baht, something like that. It's somewhere in the ballpark between like $6 to $8, okay, to take out money from the ATM machine. Okay, that's like, I mean, those are like casino vibes, man. Like when you try to use the ATM in the casino. But not just that, your a lot of your credit cards or your debit cards, they have international transaction fees. So you're kind of hit with a double whammy. And so depending on how long you're in Thailand for, it's a lot of money that you're just paying for ATM fees. Okay. So I have a possible solution to that. There are pros and cons to it. That's what I want to talk about. There's an app, it's called Moretta Pay. Okay. I'll talk to you a little about the pros and the cons of it. Why you should use it, maybe why you shouldn't use it, and so forth. Before that, I'm Expat D. I've been traveling around the world. I've been to 35 different countries. A lot of countries I repeat, so that number could be a lot higher. I've been doing this type of traveling since about 2005. Okay. So so if you're interested in this type of lifestyle about how to travel abroad and do it, and do it in a way that you could be consistent and is sustainable. Because a lot of times what I see is people that come with these stories of, oh man, I traveled abroad and what I did is I sold everything I owned, and then I went abroad and some miracle happened. And that's just not reality. You see a lot of people that will travel abroad and basically lose all their money and have to go back and do that walk of shame at the airport. I've been there, done that. And so there's ways to do it that's a little bit more sustainable. I talk about that on my channel. I'm Expat D. All right, so back to Thailand. So basically, we're Moretta Pay. To rewind a little bit, I lived a couple years in China. Okay, so one thing that I really liked while living in China is that they have like WeChat Pay or Alipay. Okay, it's the equivalent. Like if you're in the States, it's equivalent to like Apple Pay or Samsung Pay, but they're well ahead. So which means everybody uses it. If you're in the States, you try to use like Apple Pay or Samsung Pay. It's like it's kind of a here and there thing. Okay, I mean down to like the person that's like on the side of the road selling fruit. They accept WeChat Pay or Alipay in China. So what I got used to or accustomed to is going there and just needing your phone. Okay, I didn't even take a wallet with me. There was no need for one. And that became very convenient. And then also when you're in other countries, I just hate pulling out a wallet and then people are like glancing your wallet to see how much money's inside, or you don't really know how much the currency is in a country. So when you're trying to pay, you're like thumbing through your wallet. You're like, this bill, no, that one, this one, and it's confusing. Okay. And then even like culturally, some cultures like you hand them money and they like put it on put it on the desk. And you're like, man, what the, it just avoids all that stuff, man. Right. So, so basically, with Moretta Pay, you're able to scan in Thailand. Okay. That's something I was looking for. I actually, what I knew about in the past, I was trying to find different like backdoor routes to getting a bank account. See here, if you don't have like a work visa, you really can't get a bank account in Thailand. So there used to be loopholes. I'm glad I didn't pay someone to do that because a lot of those foreigners got their accounts closed down. So I'm glad I didn't do that. So the pros and cons of this Moretta Pay. Pro is you could scan. Okay, you could just have your phone. You don't have to bring a wallet. You don't have to carry money around. I hate when you are trying to buy something and you got to get a bunch of change. You're like, I hate like you're trying to buy something. Like, yeah, it's 103 baht. And they're like, do you have 3 baht? It's like, no, man, 3 baht. Then you got to get all this change and you got a pocket full of coins and stuff. I hate that. So that avoids that, but there's limitations. So here's the limitations. The limitations is that it doesn't work everywhere. So if you have a QR code to pay, and it's attached to a business bank, it'll work. So when I go to Tops, it works. When I go to like Villa Market, it works. Okay, so there's movie theaters, stuff like that. It works. Even when you go to the food court of the mall, it works. Now there are different restaurants where it may not work. Okay, that's I guess is not attached to a business. I don't know how they're operating, necessarily, but I guess it must be going to someone's personal account, so it doesn't work in that situation. So that it has its limitations. So you can't, like, you could get by using this, but you have to be picky about where you shop if you're gonna like totally go out with no wallet. Like if I know I'm gonna go to the mall and go to Tops, I'll say all right. Or if I go to Big C, I know that okay, I'm just gonna use this scanner. But I do have to keep some cash on me if I'm thinking about maybe going somewhere else. So what this is good for is it could limit your trips to the ATM machine. Okay, you have to do everything ATM. And you only I'm somebody that I'm not gonna go to the bank, to the ATM in a foreign country and try to pull out like $600. I'm thinking like, if I lose my wallet or I get robbed or something, I'm out of a lot of money. So if you're somebody that's only gonna pull out $100 at a time, well, now every time you pull out $100, you're getting charged like $6, $7, $8 on top of that. And that adds up. Okay, if every couple of days you're going to the ATM machine and you're getting those type of fees, and that's not even counting the international transaction fees, that really adds up. So basically, that's what it's good for. It can reduce the amount that you go to the ATM machine. Now, the cons, there are a couple cons. Con number one is it takes 3 business days to transfer the money. So let's say, for example, you transfer on Friday, you may not get access to the full amount until Wednesday. Now what happens is, let's say you say I'm going to send over $500, okay? The $100 will be available immediately, but the other 4 you're not going to see until 3 business days. Okay, so that's a long time to wait if you were trying to, spend more than that first $100. Sometimes it defeats the purpose because it's like, okay, I got all this money tied up, that may not be a good solution. Number 2, of course, I talked about it before, it's not accepted everywhere. So that's number 2, that's a downside. And you kind of don't really know where they accept it, where it doesn't. A lot of times they say, well, let me scan, then it doesn't work, then I pull out the money and I pay. Okay, so that's a con. So those are the 2 cons, but it does allow you to scan. Okay, and there's a good amount of places you can scan, so that is a potential solution, that you can go out and not have to have your wallet and all that good stuff. You could operate that way. So that is a solution to that. So it's called Moretta Pay. You can find it in the on the App Store. It goes in conjunction with Wise. Okay, so that's how that works. So that's something where if you want to know, man, how could I just scan and pay for stuff in Thailand, that is a solution. All right, so I'm Expat D. If you'd like to hear content, about living abroad, finding solutions to it, figuring out how to do it sustainably, just having the right mindset. I'm not somebody that's trying to sell you a book or a course or nothing like that. Just somebody who just tells you, pretty much how it is. If you like having that type of lifestyle, definitely feel free to check out my channel. All right, so I'm Expat D. Peace, I'm out.